All right, continuing my series of not just Warlord and Victrix, today I'm going to highlight some models that I purchased from NORTHSTAR. This is not my complete NORTHSTAR collection, but it's a few models that I've done recently that I really like. And in this case, these are models I get questions about every time I field them. So one of those models is Hannibal. From my Hannibal King's War Army. Check out that video if you want to take a look at Hannibal. I purchased that from NORTHSTAR as part of their partnership with War Games Illustrated. I'm going to go over a couple of other miniatures here today that go with my other ancient/fantasy armies. Perhaps my favorite of the bunch, Alexander. This is from that line that I mentioned. That is, let me see if I can get a really good center here. Heroes in Miniature, I believe they're called. Partnership with War Games Illustrated. Man, look at that guy. Great, amazing sculpt. Holding that helmet. The helmet's got some depth to it, which a lot of times you see kind of cheated on models. He's got variation of texture and design in his armor. You see the linen on the bottom and the top, some scale in the center. He's got that Gorgon plate near his neck, and some good kind of fringe at the base of each of these. The sleeve has a little billow to it, which I think is really great. Again, you see some lazier designs that a little more form-fitting. This is absolutely perfect for what this guy would be wearing in this heroic stance. Hair is kind of blowing in the wind. You can imagine him looking into the wind, looking back at his guys, pointing in the direction of the enemy, ready to go. He has this, I think it's a Kopi sword, great detail. A lot of times you might just see something that looks a little more like a gladius, which would be a little ahistorical. He's got his riding boots, right? Another great little detail. These guys really care when they put these together. Helmet with a lion on top. Amazing, kind of evocative of Hercules, his attributed ancestor on his father's side. A little bit of a misalignment on that side of the face. I could have spent a little more time green stuffing that, but I want to show off the miniature cast as it is. A little imperfection there, but please don't let it turn you off from buying this miniature. It's just something that you have to be aware of, and you can fix up with just a tiny bit of work. And like, look at the rest of him. I mean, every other angle is just perfect. I put in a stripe at the bottom of his cloak, and the cloak itself has all the folds that you would want, so you can add a little highlighting yourself. Really brilliant model, fun to paint, extremely inexpensive. This is like the best deal going. I think it was £3, perhaps £4, but whatever it was, amazing deal for a miniature that is this detailed, this well done, and for such a famous character. It's Alexander the Great, if I haven't mentioned it already. I have their George Washington painted up as well, which I'll show when I get into my Silver Bayonet crew. Two others. This is from their, I'm going to forget it, I believe it's called God's Immortal range. This is, let's zoom back out. There we go. All right, this is Zeus. I use him as all sorts of things. In Kings of War, the game I play the most, I use him as a lightning-toting flying monster. This is a resin model. I think it came in 3 pieces. I think it was the wrist here, and then the body and head were all together. Paints up very nicely. Required almost no cleaning. Just such a really great sculpt. You see a little bit of a ridge around that shoulder, but if I hadn't pointed out, you wouldn't have seen it. The leg showing through the folds of the toga is a really nice touch. I love this model. Now, could I have added a little more color to him with my paint job? Probably, but I wanted to really evoke a storm, and I wanted these lightning bolts to be the center of attention, which perhaps I did. Again, really great flowing wind-blown hair, which is just really cool in a miniature. And if you kind of have to angle them to get their wind blowing in the same direction, but that's okay. They're not from the same range, so I can't fault them for that, of course. Another one from that same range, this time in metal. I'm not sure why half of this range is in metal and half this range is in resin. It seems that the larger models are in resin and the slightly smaller scale ones are in metal. I have a few others from these ranges, like this guy back here, and I have a couple from their Norse range that are still waiting to be painted. I'll show those off when I finish them. But like Alexander, look at that armor. Look at the differentiation there. Again, you have the scale. That's a nice contrast from the linen. He has this great headpiece. It's a little bit of a bear to get this guy together, but once he goes together, you'll be happy with the results. I believe he was a hand and spear, a few pieces on the helmet, a shield arm, and then the only piece that really gave me trouble was the cape. I put in some pretty sloppy green stuff. Honestly, I had injured my hand. I wasn't really able to work with green stuff that well at that point, and I still am not able to. I can't really use my right thumb, but nobody's pointed that out, and you probably wouldn't notice that if I didn't point it out to you. So you know, no slight on the manufacturer there. I should have done a little better job with assembly. The shield took a Little Big Men Studios transfer, and then I painted over it. And that is a transfer from their 40mm line. This guy is large. He's about a 40mm guy. I think his eye level might be just a tiny bit taller. I don't know if I have a 40mm measurement handy. I do not. But he looks really great next to 20x8mm as a monstrous type of guy, or maybe an ogre type of guy. If you're trying to add a little mythic to your historicals, this is a really fun range to use. All right, well, that's it for today. It's a long video considering I only went over 3 miniatures, but have a great week and talk to y'all soon. Thanks.